You're listening to the Multiverse Fan Cast, proud member of the Misfit Faction Media Network.
My name is Oliver Queen.
My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive.
My name is Kara Zor-El. I'm from Krypton.
Everyone, this is my cousin. I guess you already know. Okay, I think I have this. Oliver.
Green Arrow.
Dig.
Spartan.
Thea.
Speedy.
Okay. And Sarah.
White Canary.
Jax. And Professor Stein.
Firestorm.
Ray.
Palmer. The Atom.
And Mick.
Oh, Heatwave.
Always a pleasure to see you, Lucy.
Hello. Don't believe we've met. Lucifer, Morningstar. Consider us even, John Constantine.
Constantine.
Is it? I don't care.
Be ready. All right, then. On with the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Multiverse Fan Cast. Don't forget, you can take us on the go with Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, or any other listening stations. You can also check out our content on our website, themisfitfaction.com. So we're back here with Multiverse Fan Cast, and with me today is Paul. Paul, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Ronnie. How are you?
I am well, sir. And we also have with us Rob. Rob, how are you?
Wilhelm Scream. How are you? It's good to see you. Funnel Fairy Butter Bar.
This is why he's unofficial third host.
Yeah, see, I was gonna leave that out and just make it seem like he was a host, but I don't know. Might have just.
We're gonna do a Facebook poll to see how many people actually want Rob to host an episode.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I would downvote that myself.
I know you would. I have to tag you in things just to get the conversation going.
Yeah, right.
Oh my Lanza.
That's funny. But we're here today. We're going to be talking about Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Batman v Superman.
Why?
X.
Why are we talking about this?
Martha.
Why did you say that name?
But yes, we are talking about that because it all leads into our, or I should say, we're in the middle of our DC month, our Justice month.
Our mostly DC month.
Yeah, right. Our mostly DC month. But before we get started in that, we do have some news and different things that we would like to just quickly touch base on.
I told you you're not allowed to touch my bass.
But it's all about that base.
About that bass?
No trouble.
And news.
And news. And scene. So first and foremost, just a little bit of exciting news, especially considering the state of television and movies. It's always nice to get some sort of facet of good news. Superman and Lois got not only the biggest numbers for the CW premiere-wise, but also they gave it an early second season renew after only one episode. Now, CW is famous for, hey, one person's watching.
Trigger,
no,
quick.
One person's watching this. Let's renew it for 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Very famous for it. They're not a typical network where they're pulling in 7-8 million viewers. They are happy with, I think Supernatural, its finale, pulled in 3-ish?
Yeah.
3 million-ish? And that's satisfying for them.
Yep.
So we're really digging Superman and Lois. I know I've seen the current episodes. I'm up to date on it. I don't know.
Yes,
have you?
I am, yep.
Yeah? And I think, Rob, you just haven't seen the second episode.
I haven't seen the second one, and that's, again, not a reflection on the quality of the show. I thought the show was actually pretty good. It's just a reflection on CW's current setup with
they're
commercials, and
streaming.
I just can't stand it.
Yeah, unfortunately, they need to do a lot because they need the revenue.
I need to torrent it or something.
Yeah, right.
But you know what?
I watch it on the CW app.
Oh, God,
but there's
CW
still
app.
commercials anyway.
Yeah, CW apps are up.
Yeah.
You know what I like about this show, though? I think it's better that it came out after Supergirl because they kind of had time to get some of the technical issues.
Yeah.
The flying stuff. It's funny. You watch Supergirl season 1, which was on CBS. Then you watch it on the CW, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
They didn't even bring the C with them.
Yeah, right.
They don't got that money no more.
No.
But and then we also have The Flash brought back for its season 7 premiere.
Yep.
I know I watched it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good course correction for them because it's a little iffy.
It was, but I feel like it was very lackluster.
That's fair. I mean, it was supposed to be part of the last season.
Yes.
They had to end production.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. I know Rob hasn't watched Flash since last season.
Part of it is the quality of the show for me just got it was too low. I think it was Cicada started doing that for me. At that point, I was like, this is just schlock. Some of it is also that having a budding teenager in the household. He's just turning 13 now, and he kind of grew out of a lot of the stuff, and so we don't watch any of the CW shows anymore. In fact, he's at home right now binge watching all the Predator movies just to give you an indication as to where he's at.
He's still got good taste, that kid.
Oh yeah,
he's also more of a Marvel guy like his dad.
Marvel shelves because you like. DC doesn't. No, it's because I will like quality, and DC doesn't seem to represent.
I also like consistency because I want to see the same story over and over and over again. I've seen the same Marvel intro
Batman
movie.
Vs Superman.
I will ride the same I will ride the same roller coaster over and over again because it's still fun every time.
Maybe I don't want fun necessarily all the time. You got to take the good with the bad, sir.
That's where Deadpool comes in.
That's fair. All right, so and then
that's a good mix.
But this is also segueing into our last bit of news. We'll touch a little bit more on it, but we did finish WandaVision, and we are leading into the Winter Soldier. So we'll have a little announcement about our plans with reviewing WandaVision and getting into Winter Soldier at the end of the episode.
So stay tuned.
Smorgasbord.
What is with the smorgasbord? Like, I don't get it. Why would you say that word?
Why would you say that word?
But I think that's going to lead us to our first time for the Multiverse Fan Cast. We're actually taking a commercial break.
Yes.
See you on the other side, Ray.
We'll be back in a flash.
I'll deal with you later. Stay put. I'll be back in a flash.
Back in a flash. Wow. Does he say that often?
Too often.
All right, so let's jump right into our topic of the day. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be kind of going based off of the characters in the movie. We're going to talk about things we liked about them, things we didn't like. We're really just going to focus in on your three major characters. We're going to talk about Batman, Superman,
and Dawn of Justice.
Yes.
and the V.
And the V.
Whoa. Family-friendly show there, guys. Easy.
Yeah. So let's start it off with our Batman, or our Batfleck, as people will say.
Yes. So, as Ronnie said, what we're going to do is we're going to look at each character. We're not going to go through the plot of the movie. The movie's, 4 years old?
4 years
or
old.
even longer. Fun fact, for those of you guys who don't know, maybe we got some newer listeners from Stitcher and from iTunes and all that. This was actually the movie that we started the podcast for.
Yes, it was.
Our third episode ever, I think, was actually Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Yeah.
So if you want to cringe harder than you've ever cringed before, feel free to go back through our catalog and find that gem.
I don't believe I was part of the show at that time, which would indicate the rise in the water level.
Yeah, it would.
About that.
I don't know, but the quality back then was definitely worse than this.
And that is saying something.
Yes, it is.
But so what we're going to do is we're going to look at, as Ronnie said, each of the main characters. We're going to spend most of the time, I think, on the Batman stuff because we did our episode on Man of Steel and Superman last week.
Yeah, and Batman was probably the high point of the movie.
Yeah, and also we do have an episode on Batman that you can check out. A few weeks ago, we did a character study on him.
Yes.
And I think we came to the consensus that Batfleck is one of the top Batmen.
Yes.
Not the perfect Batman by any stretch of the imagination. And
not yet.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, Batman actually Batman's in this.
Yes, movie. There's some heavy Batmaning, and really, I know I personally enjoy not only the character but also the look. I think it's the most comic accurate Batsuit we've ever gotten.
Yeah.
I liked Keaton's, and I liked I get the point of the bat nipples for Clooney's and all that. Like, we've had a lot of Batsuits over the years.
Yeah.
I definitely, when they first released the shot of him standing by the Batmobile, I was like, that's the Batsuit. Yeah. That is a comic book panel come to life. What about you, Ronnie? Thoughts on Batfleck initially?
Initial thoughts when it first happened, I'm sure just like everyone else, it was, really? Ben Affleck? No way. But again, he proved us all wrong, which I feel like you tend to get with DC movies. They get an actor and you go, really? And then sometimes it works out in their favor, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, we'll still hold. We get to actually rehold criticism for Jared Leto.
Yeah,
like what a weird time to be a comic book fan. Like all this stuff with like the Snyder Cut coming out. It's a great chance to revisit some of the, because they only shot 4 minutes of brand new footage.
Yeah,
the rest was all like done.
Cutting room floor stuff.
So I'm really excited to see what they do with some of that new footage.
Yeah,
and I think the Joker is part of that new footage. What about you, Rob? Thoughts on Batfleck initially?
I do like the older grizzled Batman. I think that's neat. I do like the gray hairs that he's got.
Very Dark Knight Returns ish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I will say, yeah, he is one of the better Batmen that we have had. I think he brings some good acting to it. I think he actually does detective work.
Yes.
Which is rare for Batman in these movies. I just, yeah, and I'll leave it at that.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Save stuff for later.
Yeah, I got so much to say.
Which is fine, because, as Rob and I like to rib each other really hard, especially DC versus Marvel. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, we're both comic book movie fans, and we just have what we like.
For the record, I am wearing a Justice League shirt right now.
Oh, very nice. When we start doing Patreon, that'll be an extra for our subscribers. But
am I?
No, you just took off your shirt. Okay. So, yeah.
Why is he wearing a sweater under his shirt?
That's so weird.
It's cold.
Why is it a Riverdale one?
Wait, that's not a sweater.
Oh, God.
Why is it on the back, too?
Why are you still going, and why are you yelling? But anyways, edit.
So surprised.
So surprised. But we're going to talk about some of the moments of Batfleck in this.
Yes.
The scenes that really stood out. And
when he murders everybody?
Okay, do we want to start with? We can start with that if you really want to.
Sure.
All right. So
you mean one of the best scenes ever?
Which one?
Talking about the warehouse.
He doesn't kill a single person. No, I'm just kidding. So let's
all the people.
As Rob said, this is a Batman who's been around for 20 years, and they address it in the very beginning of the movie. Alfred calls him out for being, he's branding criminals now.
Yeah.
Which I should point out. Okay, first of all, just backtrack just for a second. Mm-hmm. This week I rewatched the movie, but what I did was I watched the Ultimate Edition.
Yes.
Which I had never done before.
Well, we're going to talk about it.
And in the Ultimate Edition, he does a lot more branding, which makes sense a lot more so for the overall narrative.
So let's hit that nail on the head first. I think the Ultimate Edition is a far superior structural movie. There are certain things, because unfortunately the studio, they took out like an hour of story, characters and story from this movie, and unfortunately the extended cut is much better. Yeah. So it's a shame that we didn't get the extended cut. We got the theatrical cut. Like the theatrical cut, it's okay, but like the opening scenes really establish in the Ultimate Cut a better motivation for a lot of our characters, and it's unfortunate that we don't get that. But so
I have to say, and it's been, I've said it many, many times before about how much I do not like this movie, but I will concede that the Ultimate Edition is far superior. It makes a lot more logical sense. The narrative is a great deal smoother. It fills in so many plot holes that I was not aware of. And if you are going to watch this movie, definitely spend the extra half hour to watch the Ultimate Edition, because it does, yes, it's of course still a flawed movie, but it is so much better than that theatrical, which I don't understand the logic that anyone had with releasing that theatrical edition. It didn't make a lick of sense when I watched it, but watching this, I was like, oh, that's why. Oh, okay, this makes sense now. And it actually is it's easier to follow. And like I said, the narrative is smoother in the sense that your hand is held a lot more throughout the entire thing, and you're brought through it with the beats are much stronger in the Ultimate Edition than they are in the theatrical one.
Yeah, so like a perfect example is the branding. So in the beginning of the movie, Alfred addresses that Bruce Wayne is branding these criminals, and in his mind, he's just doing it because, it's kind of like a scarlet letter. Everybody will always know that they were caught by the Batman, they were defeated by the Batman, etc. it's hard to criminal when everybody knows that you just got your butt kicked by Batman.
You just got Batman.
Yeah, a little bit. So Lex Luthor, part of his plan, which they don't even address in the theatrical cut, is that he's actually arranging anybody with a bat brand to be killed in prison.
He's got a man on the inside.
Yeah, so you see KG Beast actually interacting with that guy and getting that going. Unfortunately, Lex Luthor, and we'll talk about this when we get to him, his motivation and plans were watered down to the point of not really getting it in the theatrical cut. But let's continue with Batman, because it's such a shame. It's, again, like the Man of Steel issue, where we have a great character and a great actor and a great look and all this stuff, just held back by a script that's just not serviceable.
Yeah.
Visually, it's fantastic. There are some great shots of just Batman. Obviously the warehouse scene is one of my favorite superhero scenes of all time. And you get Batman in this if you pay attention. Unfortunately, and this isn't a dig against Marvel, but Marvel likes to keep their stories very simple, very to the point. In their first iterations of a character, like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, their individual movies were origin stories are very same beats. And like I tease, like, Ant-Man is just tiny Iron Man.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Doctor Strange is Magic Iron Man.
Surgeon Iron Man.
Yeah. And it's not till their second or third movie that they make the plot.
Take a look at, like, say, the
Winter Soldier.
The Thor, Winter Soldier. I was thinking of the Thor movie. Ragnarok. Thank you.
Because we don't talk about the second Thor movie.
Ragnarok, which is just so unlike any movie that's in the Marvel universe.
Yeah. So Marvel's finally starting to branch out with a lot of their stuff, which is great. But again, their origin movies always follow a similar beat.
I would argue that Marvel took its time to differentiate its films, whereas DC said, let's differentiate right away. And as a result, they lost a lot of people, where if they'd taken the time to hit those same beats, they might have been able to build that empire that Marvel did.
Well, see, here's my defense of DC in that. If Batman exists in this world for 20 plus years, he says it. We've been around doing this for 20 years. There is no reason he should not immediately be onto Superman. And so I get doing a Batman and Superman movie after introducing Superman, because the idea is, up until Justice League, Superman is the reason for all of these movies, with the exception of Wonder Woman, happening. Well, I even argue Wonder Woman because Lex Luthor stole her picture. So everything that happens from Man of Steel to Justice League is a direct result of Superman arriving on Earth.
Again, I think it comes back to that statement you guys have made, is we needed a Man of Steel 2.
There needed to be a movie.
There's like a missing bridge between Man of Steel and Batman v Superman.
I'd even argue that the ending of Batman vs Superman should have been different, leading into a Man of Steel sequel where he dies in that movie. And I'll talk about that because I have just mild tweaks that would change this movie completely for the better, in my very humble opinion. But I want to talk about Batman's opening scene. The Bruce Wayne...
The Bruce Wayne scene, you mean?
The Bruce Wayne scene, yes. But you know what? We very rarely get Bruce Wayne acting like Batman in these movies.
Yeah.
You kind of... Like, you see Bruce Wayne, and then you see him in, like, his somber moments. There are very few times where Bruce Wayne jumps into the action of what's going on.
Oh, okay. They're looking at me because I had this puzzled look on my face, and I'm trying to think of what scene are we talking about?
Very opening scene.
Okay. Well, wait, isn't the opening scene, though, the one with Bruce Wayne flying with all the bats?
The actual opening scene, like the prologue to the movie, is the death.
Okay, because that's why I was so confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
The death of the Waynes, which
he's flying on bats.
See, I would have much rather they did this movie
without the Waynes,
without him Mary Poppinsing it into the cave.
I don't get that.
It's in his head. It's a dream. It's not real.
Wait, he has dreams in this movie?
Oh, he has a lot of dreams in this movie. They should have done an opening credits very similar to Watchmen, where it was just Batman.
Montage.
Yeah, a little bit of a montage. Like, you cut from the Waynes finding Clark in the pod to the Kents finding Clark in the pod to the Waynes dead in the alley. Like, just sort of back and forth.
Like a times they are changing.
Like Superman saving a cat out of a tree to Batman holding like a goon over the side of a building. Like, they could have done a really nice narrative back and forth. I think they really needed a Batman movie.
They didn't, because that would have been fun. And there is no fun in the Batman Superman universe.
Well, I'd argue there are some moments of humor, especially in the extended cut. Which Jenna Malone is funny in the extended cut. I enjoy when she's on because they cut her out completely.
Right? Why? How is she funny? I don't remember her.
I just enjoy her personality. She just brings a certain level. Or Perry White, don't let them steal your lunch money over in Gotham. There, Kent. He's 6'4" and 250 pounds.
I would argue that there are two moments of levity and humor in this film. One of them being Martha Wayne being saved and her saying, "Oh, the cape."
Yeah.
And the other one being, "Is she with you?"
Oh, that's great.
And that's it.
Yes.
Otherwise, there is no fun at all to be had. Which is if I go to a superhero, and this was again the complaint that I had with Man of Steel, that there's if you're someone who's like, "Oh, I like Superman," and you're in your 70s and you're like, I grew up on Superman. This is going to be fun, and then it's just like PTSD 9/11 kind of stuff all over the place. There's no fun to be had.
I also think that Marvel overdid it with their quips and their humor. I think Age of Ultron got a lot of flack for how often they were constantly
Age of Ultron.
The whole movie was a quip.
Yeah, it was.
Tony Stark even says he beat me by 1 second.
Yeah. I think if you're going to look at Age of Ultron is an outlier. I mean, look at Winter Soldier, which is not quippy at all. There are quips in there, but they make logical sense with the plot.
I think the problem we also are always going to run into is there's always going to be a direct comparison to the two. It's not like if I'm like, I want to watch a drama movie, I can watch The Departed and then watch something completely different, and I'm not comparing the two.
Yeah.
But we naturally compare comic book movies.
I will say on that point that I enjoyed Batman, and I'll put enjoyed in quotation marks. I enjoyed Batman v Superman more than I did 3 years ago.
Oh yeah.
That I now that I know the tone, I've gotten used to it. The lack of fun and the grappling with more serious issues. Okay, I can appreciate it. I know what they're trying to do. It's a very Grant Morrison kind of approach to superheroes, which I appreciate. I may not enjoy or get into, but okay, I could see what they're doing. So I was kind of okay with the tone this time because I knew what to expect.
Yeah.
Also, I think Justice League tried to match the tone that a lot of people wanted, and it was just it was a car wreck.
Yeah, it was Joss Whedon's car wreck.
Yeah, and it's painful to watch.
Yeah. I can't wait to rewatch it.
Unfortunately, the problem is with DC is they're trying to course correct, and it's way too difficult at this point. You watch the first couple of movies of this franchise, and they're totally different. I would much rather have DC movies that all kind of have a different feel to them. So I don't know, I wouldn't mind Batman as a detective. Let's watch the Batman detective movie. Let's watch the Superman hopeful optimistic one. Let's watch whatever it is.
I will give it to this for Zack Snyder that tonally he is very consistent in his films, even though it's not necessarily initially a tone that I appreciated. At least he's consistent. So I am interested to see what his Justice League will look like, because I'm sure he will continue that same tone that he established in the previous two movies. But then now we've got now we've also got Shazam and Birds of Prey and everything, which are tonally different, but I guess they can exist in their own little corner of the DC universe too.
Yeah, but you know what? I think it works because Shazam still had a dark, Shazam was a very good balance of the lighthearted and the darker kind of tone. They did a much better job balancing. It wasn't perfect, but
I'm thinking of that boardroom scene where those monsters came in and just ate it. That was terrifying.
Yeah, that was because he's a horror director. That guy. Yeah. So Aquaman does a really a much better job at this is
that was James Wan.
Oh yeah,
because he's got that. What's that universe? The horror universe that James Wan does.
Annabelle, The Conjuring, and all that. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, I haven't seen any of those. But
that's the problem though. Is you have DC, which just goes, we're going super dark with everything, even though their characters are not dark. That's their problem.
That's why we're missing. There's a movie missing, whether it's a standalone Batman movie or a Man of Steel 2. There was something missing between this movie. I would have much rather seen a Batman movie. The perfect Batman movie for this would have been takes place a day before the Battle of Metropolis. And like the movie takes place, and you see flashbacks, you see a young Batman, you see where he is now.
The death of the Waynes.
Because I also, and yeah, do the death of the Waynes in that movie.
See, and this is, I'm just thinking about this too. Is that like in terms of the like, what works for me most in this movie are the Batman scenes, but I think because tonally it matches. Like Superman, this tone doesn't necessarily match for me because if you think about it, Superman's logo represents hope. He doesn't seem to represent hope. He's when you see him saving all those people in the beginning, he looks just like put upon and hopeless, and he's not a symbol of hope. Like, when they build that huge monument to him in the middle of Metropolis, why would they? He doesn't represent anything. He caused that problem.
So here's my thoughts about Superman in this movie, because I'm a huge Superman fan.
Of course.
He is probably arguably my favorite superhero of all time. There's a lot. Superman's a lot like a firefighter in this, or a police officer, where this is only 2 years into his career. Like he's literally just starting off. And I know we brought it up in Man of Steel. Like Man of Steel is like, oh, I just got this suit. Oh my God, alien invasion. In this movie, he's constantly thinking, everything I do has this negative, and it's very reflective of our times, unfortunately. Like, and I think that's also an issue. You don't see it in the Captain America movies, because everybody loves Captain America. Like, he's a national symbol. People would be really weary of an alien literally dropped down from the skies with God powers and was like, I'm just here to help everyone. Like, in modern society, we would not see it that way. And I think Zack Snyder took that idea and maybe went a little too far with it. But, this is a Superman where he finds his own hope at the end of the movie. He says it to Lois. He's like, this is my world, and you're my world. And he ends up making the ultimate sacrifice, because they literally said that Doomsday was going to... You can't kill him.
The ultimate unnecessary sacrifice.
To a point, absolutely. I completely agree.
Why didn't he just throw it?
Yeah.
What if he missed?
Then he'd pick it up again and throw it again.
What if he didn't have a chance to? He also knew that Doomsday could kill him. He killed Zod. He knows for a fact that creature could have killed him. Yes, could he have thrown it and hoped for the best? Absolutely.
But thankfully, we have a psychic Lois Lane who just knew that he needed.
Yeah, that one was weird. I can't even defend that one.
It was glowing. She went, "Ooh, pretty light. What's that?"
Doesn't know what we're talking about. Lois Lane, for some reason, when she has the staff, just throws it into the water, which doesn't make any sense why she does that. And then
I think her getting rid of it makes total sense. She knows it could kill him.
How is throwing it into the water getting rid of it?
Who was going to find it? Aquaman? That would have been even better.
That's what should have happened.
Yes,
was he should have just been like, "Hey,
and
booyah!"
Then she is on the other side of this entire battle, and somehow she knows, oh, there's a plan to kill Doomsday with this spear, so I'm going to go get it. How she knows that is way beyond any of our comprehension.
The closest you can argue is that she saw them trying to get back there. Like, that's the closest. Like, she saw them coming back towards where they were.
Yeah. But I think, like Paul says, even he can't defend that one.
No. Going back though to Superman, like the whole movie, it's him. Like they say it in the montage. What if he's just a guy trying to do the right thing? And like, it's hard. Like throughout the movie, he is.
I would like to see him enjoying doing the right thing.
But you know what? Unfortunately, in this movie, it's based on the story, and it's based around the story. Like. When that bomb goes off in the Senate and he's not doing anything for just a couple of seconds, like, it's just because he's like, this is my fault. Like, you can't even imagine what he sees right now, because they don't show it. They don't show like human bodies on fire and people. And then even when he's pulling people out, because in the extended version you see him carrying people out. Everybody's looking at him like, this is on you, man. And he's like, I came here because it was the right thing, and in coming here caused this bomb, and now I'm trying to save people, and everybody's looking at me the wrong way. Like, I wouldn't feel hopeful too, but the whole point is this is also a Superman story. Unfortunately, it's more of a Batman story.
The Batman part
should have just been called
way better.
Batman: Dawn of Justice. Yeah. It shouldn't have Superman in the title, because Superman doesn't. I mean, he does stuff, but he does nothing for the plot or anything like that in this movie.
I'll disagree, but I understand what you're saying. Like, you look at the opening scenes. The first opening scene we talked about, Bruce Wayne running into that debris field, is still one of my favorite superhero moments.
Concede on that. Yes,
I love the Everything Wrong with videos, and everything great about videos.
Yeah.
And they both pointed out those scenes and how great it was to see.
I rewatched the CinemaSins one last night,
And
and even he said, this is just awesome to see him running. And yeah, it is.
I think it's a common, and also like that scene establishes exactly what's going on. Bruce Wayne doesn't know how many aliens are there, what's happening, why the fighting stops, why it continues, why his building just fell down.
I was just glad that he gave permission for all those people in his building to leave.
Yeah, well, I don't know what their safety procedure was. Could have been safe.
Clearly, you can't leave unless Mr. Wayne tells you.
Haven't you ever heard of a hold in place? You work at a school. What's a lockdown?
Yeah, but we transitioned from a hold. Actually, in our school,
I know somebody needs to make that call though.
Teachers are allowed to.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yes. In fact, we have on the back of, and I'm sharing too much of my personal life. On the back of our badges, we have instructions on how to initiate a lockdown.
Oh yeah.
Personally,
yeah, teachers are allowed to do that. But that opening scene really kind of sets up everything we need to know about Bruce Wayne and why he is like he's holding a child whose parents just died. As he sees Superman and Zod blasting through buildings, you know, we Rob, you've brought up a few times the imagery that's evoked by all that destruction. Imagine being one of the only people that could do something about it, watching it helplessly.
Yeah. I think that was neat. Like I would argue, and I think many would agree with me that you know, because some people will say, oh well, this was the plan all along. I don't know about that. I think it was a course correction for the criticism that came from Man of Steel and just the wanted destruction.
But see, I think it was more just WB guys going, "Hey, can you do us a favor?"
Yeah,
like,
I think it was.
I think a lot of the story structure was still there and was always Zack Snyder's vision.
I still think it was well handled, though, in giving us another perspective of the end of Man of Steel from Batman's perspective, and I think that was neat. And it did set up Batman's motivation.
Absolutely.
Yes. Which I would argue is the only character in this entire movie that actually has clearly defined motivations.
I agree to a point, you know, because the thing about this Batman especially is he's still in the mission. For 20 years he's been doing this. Like there is nothing else in his life.
Yeah. I mean, I really do think that Batman is completely not handled well, and that, you know, there are some scenes that I just can't excuse or explain away, but I will say that at least he has a very clear motivation for controlling Batman, because he talks about, you know, if you have a 1% chance of, you know, like, and that is a frightening thing. If you have a being that can literally destroy the earth several times over, you would want to put a check and balance on it. And again, it goes back to the Civil War argument from Marvel that, you know, if you have these heroes that are all powerful, we should have a series of checks and balances, and there should be some regulation on them. And I like that concept. I think that's good.
And I also like, they don't spell it out as much in the standard version, more in the Ultimate Edition, that Lex Luthor is also kind of pushing a little bit onto Batman. Now, let's talk about Lex Luthor really quick,
please. Because I think, if anything, the easiest conversation is to have with this movie is Batman, because I think we can all agree that it's handled really well.
We enjoy him.
It's a great Batman movie. It's clearly motivated, but
visually it's fantastic. Even him in the mech suit was beautiful.
I would argue that it is strange that he is just murdering people left and right.
All right, so before we even talk about Lex, then there's precedent in the comics. You know, every comic book character, or at least most of them, have killed. I mean, nobody said a word in Wonder Woman when she mowed, because they were Germans and they were bad and World War I. The only thing that would have been worse is if they were Nazis. We don't condone killing on the Multiverse Fan Cast, just throwing that out there. But maybe not Nazis, but if any Nazis are listening, no.
Yeah, right.
So, like, every Captain America,
we are not Nazi friendly in our listenership.
No, not even a little. Captain America kills, Iron Man kills, like. We've seen every superhero kill,
but to the extent.
Hold on.
Okay, sorry.
It's not even the extent. It's because the Dark Knight trilogy, which is arguably one of the most popular superhero franchises ever.
Yeah.
I'd even say those three movies rival the MCU.
2.
3?
2.
There's 3 movies, sweetheart.
There's only 2. We don't recognize the third.
We recognize it because it does have its merits. We've discussed it.
It is profoundly stupid.
Its plot is maybe even worse than this one. But you know, like the Dark Knight trilogy, for a lot of people, even the casual Batman fans, like that established we don't kill, we don't use guns. Batman's killed in the comics. He
Right.
hung a mentally ill person from the Batwing. Like
singular.
But hold
scene in the warehouse, he easily mows down 40 people.
Yeah.
There wasn't even 40 people in there.
You've seen the video where they do the counter of how many people
but
actually
Batman
died.
But I want to establish that there's precedent for Batman killing. Like there's precedent. And also this is 20 years of doing this. And the whole point of this is at the end, instead of branding Lex Luthor, he shows that that's his character moment, that he's reinvigorated. That's also why, and we're jumping all over the place.
Yeah, we are. That's all right. They
That's
don't care.
also why he doesn't kill Superman.
It just seems so uncharacteristic to be killing that many people.
I think the thing is, like you said, all superheroes kill. Yes, they do, but like in like a by proxy kind of way. Not necessarily intentional all the time, but in this movie, he is doing like brutal killings.
Like
almost like putting a bomb in a clown's waistband in Batman Returns and smiling about it.
Yeah. Well, what about the neck snapping?
I'm just
like, all right. See, with the at least with the neck snapping, it was something where this is my last and only option.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I might not agree that it was, but at least it was played out that way. Whereas, what Batman is doing, he is arguing that all of the people I just murdered are beyond any kind of redemption. There is no, rehabilitating them whatsoever. So I'm just going to kill them. Where I think you could argue that through rehabilitation with a lot of those criminals, you could have brought them to a point where they were productive members of society.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Uh-oh.
We've seen it in the comics. It's been countless debates about whether or not Batman creates the villains or the villains created Batman, like that internal circle.
Right.
He's also 20 years, right? How many times do you think he's caught the Joker to put him into Arkham for him to escape again? Like,
once.
Probably. Just one time. Just one time.
Perhaps more than that.
But you have to, I always look at it like this Batman has seen this time and time and time again. It's one of the most frustrating things about our criminal justice system in the real world. Criminals walk out like nothing happens.
Yeah.
So imagine, like, I can again, and also Batman spells this out in the very beginning. We're criminals. We've always been criminals. Criminals are like weeds, Alfred. He says that.
Yeah.
You pluck one out, another one grows.
Right. And then I would argue with next is, are you suggesting then that Alfred is complicit?
I think Alfred is the only person in this movie to constantly call out Bruce Wayne, and he even says, you're going too far.
Right, because he might say that, but he also enables him by saying, I'll take over the ship from here. Because I thought in that moment, Alfred was going to just start murdering people, too.
No, he just used it as a diving board.
Yeah.
For one of the coolest shots in the movies when he goes through the skyline. It was really cool. But, talking about Alfred, too, like, they have a long history. They've been doing this,
And he's an enabler at this point.
Well, Alfred always technically was. Even look at the Dark Knight trilogy. He even says we burned the forest down.
Yeah.
Alfred has always been supportive and believed in Batman's mission. But also in this movie, like I said, and most of the Batman movies, Alfred's always the one that calls him out. Like, you're wrong. Who would say that to Batman? Yeah. But on
a side note, this won't lead us to anything. Looking at Alfred and Batman in their cave, did they build that themselves?
No idea.
Because if they did build
it
themselves, very impressive. Clearly, they didn't build it themselves. So who are the contractors that they...
In the comics, they've always had different stories. Like, sometimes we hire a bunch of different independent contractors to do segments and pieces.
And then ship them there?
I have no idea. But the comics have always been a little...
It goes back to the whole, Return of the Jedi, that when they blew up the Death Star, they just blew up like plumbers and contractors.
Yeah, right.
I will say that the Batcave in this is really cool. I do enjoy that.
But it was clearly built by architects and professionals, not by Alfred.
Oh, yeah. I do. One of the best touches in that is every time he goes down the elevator, he has to walk by the damaged Robin suit. Mm-hmm. That's again, another indication of where he is at this point.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the desert scene with Superman,
and then we'll get to Lex Luthor.
Yes,
that's where we were headed.
Because this is segueing into it because the Ultimate Edition does much better with this, unfortunately. So
help me understand this.
Okay, so in the desert scene, Lois Lane, she's interviewing this warlord. They find out that Jimmy Olsen is the photographer. Is actually
not Jimmy Olsen.
Does he say his name?
No.
Okay.
No, he's unnamed in that.
Because in the Ultimate, he does say, "Hi, I'm Jimmy Olsen."
Yes. So Jimmy Olsen is apparently a CIA operative and is murdered. Yeah. Like, I think they changed that though so that they could leave the door open eventually for Jimmy Olsen. Very important character in the mythos of Superman, I think. But
help me understand this dream sequence.
I'm not talking about the Nightmare sequence.
Oh, no.
I'm talking about the opening scene.
Oh, the opening in the desert. That desert scene.
Yes.
Okay.
There's 2 desert scenes in this movie.
Yes, there is.
But so Superman comes in and he saves the day, et cetera, and they cut to interviews of people like he came like thunder and like he has to defend himself like I didn't kill those people. Right. And I remember seeing the theatrical cut going, why would they think he killed them?
Right. Whereas in
the Ultimate, KGB lights them all on fire and utilizes flamethrowers to simulate heat vision. So, and Superman also destroys, I think, 2 drones coming through to save Lois. So that's why everybody thinks that Superman came in and just blasted people away.
Yeah, it does make more sense in the Ultimate of like, okay, this is why there's such a tight against Superman. And then they also that one witness who gets pushed in front of the subway. Her story is fleshed out in the Ultimate Edition too. So it makes a lot.
There's
more
a lot
sense.
in the Ultimate Edition. There's a lot more investigating, and even Clark Kent doing more reporting work, and that's why he's so against Batman. And Batman doing a little bit more investigative work, which is why he's so against Superman. It's such a shame that this was not the movie we got. But so let's talk about Lex Luthor and his grand plans.
I need to understand his plan because I cannot figure out what he's trying to do.
Ronnie, thoughts on Lex Luthor?
Now, you talking about the character, or do you want to talk about Eisenberg, the choice of Eisenberg?
You can go either way.
I didn't like okay, maybe I shouldn't say I didn't like Eisenberg, but
I'm gonna need some help with this. Go ahead.
I get what they were trying to do.
With casting Eisenberg?
Yes.
All right, quick personal story. I met Jesse Eisenberg about 3 or 4 months before the movie came out. I went and saw him. He was doing a reading from a book that he was putting out called Bream. I think it's called Bream Gives Me the Hiccups, I think was the name of the book. It was some poetry and some prose and everything, and it was admirable that he was doing that. So I went to go see him there, and afterwards I approached him and I asked him about Batman and Superman and how we were excited for his portrayal and everything, and I asked him to actually say hi to Timmy on my phone, and his publicist stepped in and she's like, I don't think we can do that, and I'm like, oh, sorry. But he was very nice and very cordial. Had I seen the movie before that, I would have been punching him in the face at that moment.
All right, so we, as typical on the Multiverse Fan Cast, we do like the pros and the cons. We will definitely discuss because
we do the punching in the faces.
Yes. See, I think the problem with Eisenberg was I say it wasn't his fault. It was the way he was written.
I agree to a point. Because I've seen Eisenberg in other stuff, and he does have some acting chops. He can do.
He's a great Zuckerberg.
Unfortunately, that's who he was in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was Jesse Eisenberg. He was what happens when Mark Zuckerberg wants to take over the world.
So you're talking about him right now?
Oh, sorry.
So we're talking about current Mark Zuckerberg.
We're never going to get monetized. Top.
Would he have made a good Joker? I actually think, he will. I think if he had gone into, he's not really Lex, he's the Joker, that would have been interesting.
I could see it because it was a little mix of both. Because you did have some Lex Luthor type moments from Eisenberg, but then with the giggling and stuff, that was very Joker-esque.
So here's my thoughts. Especially in today's society, society openly accepts social abnormalities or social differences, right? This Lex Luthor clearly has some sort of anxiety or social challenges, and that's why he's definitely to a point. Now, for me, this Lex Luthor, if he had dropped this whole quirky, if he had literally when he was talking to Superman on the rooftop, same monologue, exact same dialogue, except him just stoic and and literally just saying at the very beginning, nobody's ever going to believe you about crazy Lex, eccentric.
I'll do you one better.
Do me one better.
Imagine that monologue being done by, say, Bryan Cranston.
It would have been great.
Yes.
Or John Hamm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those would have been great choices.
So I think that would have saved the performance of Lex Luthor.
I think the thing too is they were probably my guess is going for a young Lex Luthor,
which I'm fine with.
Not a season one, because again, Superman in this is
34.
That's
It's a young
how old Henry Cavill is.
No, I just kind of he's in Man of Steel. He says he's 33. He's been on Earth for 33 years.
Yeah,
and this takes place 18 months after.
Yeah. Okay. So you have a young, quote unquote, young Superman. So it only makes sense that you have yourself a young Lex Luthor.
He was like he came across though as like a 16-year-old though. Like like seeing him, like I'm thinking of that moment when he's like, Clark Kent meets Bruce Wayne. I love bringing people together. Yeah. He seemed like a child amongst those guys.
It was very. He almost seemed very like bipolar-ish in this movie, and
not in a like in a very stereotypical way.
Yes.
Too.
So this is just off the top of my head. There are a lot of parallels in this movie between the characters. It's the weakness of a okay script, not the best script.
Yeah.
So you have Superman, who's having trouble, who wants to be not even a hero. He just wants to be part of this planet. He wants to be part of Earth. So he's trying to be what the people of Earth want. And Mama, what's her face, has Mama Kent. She has a great monologue. Be their hero, be their angel, be their whatever they want you to be, or don't. You don't have to be. Yeah. But that's what he wants. He wants to be. He wants a place on Earth. He's alone. There's nobody else like him. And then you have Bruce Wayne, who can't humanize Superman. He doesn't know Superman's Clark Kent. I'm sure he suspects, but he just sees an alien. He just sees a threat, and it's not until he realizes that Clark has a human family. Well, Martha, that's when he humanizes Superman. Well, it's not even that. Like, you see it when he says Martha. Batman's openly confused. He's like, "What? What are you? Why would you? What?"
Yeah.
I'm just adding. We brought this up. Then you have Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor says it. He was abused as a child. His father literally abused him as a child. They lived in some backwater country where they had to show flowers at a parade every Sunday to tyrants.
Snyder is clearly playing the whole parent issues card
but
here.
Unfortunately, that's also comic book characters. Like 90% of your comic book characters, they don't have a family. Superman was actually an outlier where he had, like, there are sometimes, Papa Kent, he's dead, and then other times he has both parents. Yeah. But Lex Luthor spells it out in his monologue that he prayed to God to save him from his father. Like, he says it. He's like, no man in the sky intervened when I was a boy.
All right.
So now he has that embodiment of God.
So what is Lex Luthor's motivation and plan in this film?
His motivation is just he wants to kill. He's angry at God, and now again, it goes back to this
projecting on Superman.
Exactly. And it's just like what I said about Batman. Imagine being the one person in the world that can actually do something about Superman and not being able to in that opening scene. So for me, and this is just my opinion, I've never heard any confirmation about this. It's just Lex finally has an outlet for this rage he's had. Like, you even see it in the scene with when he's talking to Holly Hunter in the den, talking about his dad and the wayward thoughts of orphan children. Like, he had unfortunately, he's a character that has clear mental disorder, unlimited funds, and a genius intelligence, and he was never able to get closure.
Apparently Kryptonian savvy, because he knows how to get in the ship and he knows what to do. And
the fingerprint thing. Well, they never say why he learns, like how he figured out the fingerprint things.
Which, you know what? I'll give you the fingerprint thing. That's fine. He probably.
But when he goes in there, that computer asks him like what he wants, and like we have the intelligence of 12 billion star systems, and he's like, teach me.
Well, first of all, when he goes in there, he is somehow able to, because he even says like, the computer said something about giving it permission to Lex Luthor or something, like how it even does that or knows that. Or, there's a lot of I guess overall what I'm saying is there's a lot of convolution in this entire film.
There's also a lot of assumption. So like We don't know what he went into that ship asking. He could have, like...
Or what he was even doing in there.
So I have theories, if you guys would like to hear.
Nah.
Yeah, I know. Ronnie checked out 47 minutes ago. But theory one is that he went in there and he wanted to create life. What better way to get back at God than by playing God?
Okay.
So that's my first theory. And then my second theory, plain and simple, basic Lex Luthor. How can I kill Superman? How can I kill a full power Kryptonian? And the computer was like, here, you can do this.
Then if he accomplishes that with Doomsday, what's the purpose of going further?
Doomsday was the backup plan. His original plan was Batman. He wanted Batman to kill Superman. And he wanted to prove that a man can do it, and he knew he couldn't. No, I'm telling you.
Oh no,
all
I'm
this
not
is
laughing
like
at you. I'm laughing at the fact that to come up with a plan that would accomplish those ends and what he tries to do, it relies on so much.
There's a lot of chance, a lot of happenstance, and you can argue a lot of movies do that where everything has to happen perfectly. I do like that he had a backup plan, but like he could have just done the backup plan.
Yeah. Like it does. It counts on so many coincidences happening and so much chance that it seems just not realistic, and the movie just tells you to go with it because movie's got a movie.
Movie's got a movie. The rule of cool abides. We wanted to see Batman and Superman throw punches,
which doesn't happen until about an hour and a half in, right?
Yeah.
So that's a mild tweak for me for this movie. I would have much rather. Again, we didn't need the death of Superman. They were rushing to Justice League. Justice League in this, and we've seen it in the last Zack Snyder trailer, where the death of Superman leads to Justice League. That's why Steppenwolf comes to Earth. That's what Darkseid's after. But if they had instead, like this is just a mild tweak, if instead of having the world turning against Superman, I think Lex Luthor should have created Brainiac, or not Brainiac, Bizarro, like a clone of Superman who was out doing stupid things.
Oh, like secretly, and people were like, "Look, that's Superman."
That's Superman.
Yeah.
And then the ending fight should have been the three of them. You could still do the Trinity going against Bizarro, and also the security guard who loses his legs.
Yes,
Scoot
McNairy's character.
They should have made him Metallo. Okay. I would have much rather preferred. So I've rewritten this movie.
Clearly.
But then would you be introducing way too many people?
To a point. And that's why they needed another movie.
Yeah, I think this soon in the franchise it would have been too many people, but yes.
I think if they had done a Batman movie before this, and the Batman movie literally ended with Alfred going down to the Batcave and being like, "Sir, there's an attack on Metropolis right now."
That would have made sense.
That would have been, and then cut right to the next movie. That would have been great. And then if they had done this movie where Batman and Superman have their title fight halfway through, then they you could still do the Martha stuff, you could still do a lot of that stuff, but the movie halfway through, then they realize that something's not right, and that's when they team up. And also, if Bizarro was out doing Superman things, then it would have lended more to why Batman wants to stop him.
Here's an interesting thought. What if the movie wasn't called Batman v Superman and it was just called Dawn of Justice?
It should have been.
Yes.
And also if the marketing people at WB didn't play up, this is the big fight you've been waiting for, then I think we would have been a bit more open to it because it would have been about Batman and Superman outmaneuvering one another.
Yeah. And then eventually, and teaming up and investigating halfway through. And then getting to Lex's office and he's just like, "Oh, you guys are going to arrest me? Okay, click. Bizarro and
All right, speaking
Metallo
of convolution stuff, help me understand this one.
Hit me.
How does everyone know everyone's secret identity?
In regards to what?
Because they
well,
look
first
the
of
same
all, Lex Luthor knows that Superman is Clark
He
Kent.
does know who both of them are, yeah.
Yeah, and Bruce Wayne. How does he know that?
Because they look the same.
Did you see the Jimmy Fallon bit?
No.
Jimmy Fallon does a great bit.
Actually, years ago.
Oh, you're Batman. Hey, you're Superman.
Yes, I did see that. Okay.
Really, really funny stuff. But I think it's fair to assume that Lex is just like you see Bruce Wayne studying Batman. In fact, I never noticed this until it was pointed out to me. When he first hits him with the kryptonite and they start fighting, he does the same moves he does against Zod. So Batman counters exactly how Zod did because you actually see him studying that exact shot over and over again to see how Superman fights. It's just a nice little nuance that I noticed.
Because like in the fight between the two of them, like he calls him Bruce. And I'm like, how does he know that?
Yeah. In all honesty, all he had to do was like, I X-rayed your mask the first time we met.
Yeah.
Which they've done in a lot of different media.
Which I'm okay with that. I could understand that. My bigger issue was, how does Lex know who everybody is?
Because he's smart.
Well, no,
because smartness.
Unfortunately, like we said, he's got some sort of disorder where I'm sure he's meticulous. Like very like once he fixates on something, obviously he almost ends the world fixating on Superman. So I think you can assume that he's just that he is smart in this movie. Like he does.
Yeah.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, unfortunately, he wins.
Yeah.
He's locked up in Arkham, but he won. And say what in the extended cut, you see he's actually communicating with Steppenwolf at the very end. Steppenwolf's original design too. Yeah. So the one we're going to see, but they never really say it. You just have to assume it's because he's clever enough.
And that's the problem I have with this movie is because
a lot of assumption.
We chalk up too many things to it's because he's smart. It's because he's crazy.
Yeah,
like there, and that's where I have an issue that Lex doesn't have a clear motivation in this. That it's just like like that's why if he was playing the Joker, it would have made more sense because the Joker's idea is that he just enjoys chaos.
Mm-hmm. Well,
whereas Lex Luthor usually has his eyes on the presidency or something like in the comics. He's got a goal, an end goal. Other than just destruction.
I think his motivation was there is this god that is creating this destruction, and now he's become a threat to humanity. And so that is his reasoning.
By creating another threat to humanity by bringing Darkseid?
Doomsday.
No, Darkseid. I'm thinking.
Who knows? Again, they never addressed that. He's in
there because he at the end is saying the bell's been rung. It's he's coming.
Yeah.
Because If it is to get rid of a threat to humanity, why introduce another threat to humanity in Darkseid?
I think it turned on him. I think he thought that Batman was going to be on his side and he was going to let Lex walk free after all this. Because at the beginning of the movie, you have Batman like, we got to get rid of Superman because of the destruction. And so Lex is thinking, someone who's thinking exactly like I am about this god. So if we team up, get rid of this god, we're buddy-buddy, he'll turn his cheek.
I would have enjoyed that a lot more than just him writing on returned checks.
Yeah.
But that was another smart play, though, leaving the notes for...
But it is something that Bruce Wayne doesn't discover until, like, the very... Like, he'd been doing it for 2 years, and Bruce Wayne doesn't discover it until the last moment.
But also, that was Lex, like, I'm going to throw out a lot of different pieces. Yeah. And I also like when they throw out something that it didn't work. And it only worked because now this guy's a national hero. They make Wally, and Wally, I think is. I forget. I think so because everybody's like Wally West. No,
I remember him as Scoot.
Yeah,
that's the
name. He took the national spotlight. So I think it was all part of his plan. It didn't manifest until the right time. And also it was really cool seeing him just go through all these, and then it finally ends with "You let your family die." Like, and you see Bruce Wayne again. Another moment where he's taken on villains. Like this is 20 years. Has beaten, all these different Killer Croc, all these characters, and he's watching. I mean, imagine Batman feeling helpless again. Batman has not felt helpless, and that's part of his motivation since his parents died.
No, Batman clearly motivated.
Yeah, but let's talk about his other motivation during this, which is
Batman.
Yeah, Batman.
Okay. Martha.
No, we're gonna get to. We'll do like a whole segment on Martha, but the Knightmare sequence.
Yes.
So the Knightmare sequences started with the World Engine sound effect, which they use in this movie to indicate that he is having that he's not. It's not part of the actual movie. It's a dream sequence.
Can you explain that for listeners? Because I didn't know it until you explained it to me.
So whenever Bruce Wayne is going into, like, he has a nightmare in the beginning with the bat monster coming out of the crypt, like whether or not he's afraid he's becoming this monster. All those scenes start off with a cut to black and the sound of the World Engine from Man of Steel going off. That electric hum.
Which is not something I noticed until Paul pointed it out to me, and now I'll have to go back and look for that.
I'll show you some of the scenes with it. But so he has this vision while he's decoding data of a potential future where not only is Superman a bad guy, but also the world is just destroyed. I love the trench coat Batman, though. That got
that was good.
It's got
I need to get the Funko Pop head of that.
Yeah, the Apocalypse Batman. So they're trying to get kryptonite to kill Superman. Now, according to this is not confirmed, but apparently in Justice League, Darkseid wins and takes control of Superman using the anti-life equation.
Yeah.
And that's why Superman's a tyrant in this. So Batman's a freedom fighter. He's working with a bunch of others, and it's a great sequence. I just think it was not put together. The scene itself is great, but the build-up and the structure of it, and
my gosh, it exists.
Of course, it exists.
I had to look this up. There is actually a Funko Pop of this Batman in this Nightmare sequence in the trench coat.
Oh yeah,
that's actually kind of cool.
It's really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing it
with
more.
the goggles.
Yeah, in Justice League. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But so that's the whole point of the Nightmare sequence, and then the Flash appears to tell him.
It's
apparently,
Nightmare Batman.
Yeah. So apparently, the Flash coming back is what triggers Batman seeing that reality. So something to do with the Speed Force and time travel. And
help me answer this.
Yes.
Why is the Flash thing a dream?
Maybe Batman just can't perceive it, or maybe he actually passes out during it.
A dream in a dream.
It's really
why
weird.
Did this need to be a dream? Why couldn't this have just been I don't understand what the thought process was behind that.
Yeah, and especially because then when Batman wakes up, you see papers floating in the back to indicate that it did actually happen. So I mean, they can easily explain it. Unfortunately, here's my issue with the DCEU as a whole. We had a lot of build-up, but we never got our payoff and answers in Justice League.
Which were fingers crossed.
Yeah, for all we know, they could show the opposite end of that in Justice League, where Batman's sending the flashback, and he's literally saying,
Lois is the key.
Not even that Lois is the key, but this is going to mess with young me's head.
I have to do it
You have to do it exactly this way, otherwise, because they haven't explained the Speed Force yet. In the Flash, even in the Flash, when he time travels, it's always different. Sometimes he's the only Flash there. Then other times there's multiple Flashes there. Then other times it's you can't change things. And then other times everything's changing. The Speed Force is a once time travel's involved, it gets convoluted. And until you say the actual rules, you don't know what the rules are. Yeah.
There are no rules. That's the thing.
There are no rules.
There aren't, though.
I really hope in Justice League we get the opposite end of that with explanation.
You know what rule I would like explained?
What's that?
Superman's selective hearing.
In regards to what?
Well, because Lex Luthor's plan is clearly dependent upon Superman's selective hearing. Because he hears Lois Lane in the desert, and he knows he should come in to rescue her.
Well, I will argue that he was already close enough.
Okay. Why doesn't he hear his elderly mother getting abducted?
Different state? No,
I'm with you. Why
you.
doesn't he hear Lois Lane getting abducted the second time?
Oh, I don't think maybe
Luthor.
He just wasn't, because he was up in Alaska, remember?
But yet he's close enough to rescue her when she falls.
He was coming back.
He was coming.
No, he had his moment.
Time.
Yeah,
he had his moment where
can't Superman though fly around the Earth really, really fast?
Oh yeah, probably.
Okay, so we never why travel time?
Yeah,
I don't know. Just let it happen. Just let it happen at this point. But with regards to Martha Kent being held, I will say Lex Luthor knows that Superman can't see through lead. In the Ultimate Edition, they actually apparently Wally's wheelchair was lead lined, so he couldn't see the bomb.
That's why he couldn't see it. Yep.
Yeah.
In the Ultimate.
So I would, even if they just said she's at a lead factory in Gotham, we laugh, but something else I didn't notice.
Oh, there's an Ace Chemical factory. Why wouldn't there be a lead factory?
Janus,
yeah, right.
Yeah. But they also, Batman makes his smoke grenades with lead. You actually see when he's putting them down on the table.
Oh yeah.
The element name for lead is on it, and that's why when he drops that smoke grenade, Superman has to go through it.
Okay, another help me understand this too. What does kryptonite actually do to Superman?
It decays his cells. So in this, they say that it breaks down Kryptonian cells.
All right, but doesn't kryptonite come from Krypton?
Yes.
Doesn't it? Isn't it just like stuff that's laying around Krypton, right?
No, it's Krypton's. In the original iteration, it was Krypton's irradiated pieces.
I did not know that.
Yes,
okay.
so it's the radiation that kills Superman,
Okay.
and it's also dangerous to humans.
Kryptonite was just a chunk of Krypton.
It technically is, but it's been irradiated by the destruction of it.
Which is why it has that effect on him.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, doesn't it just return? Doesn't Krypton just return him to his original state that he's on?
No, Red Sun
Yeah.
will. Like a Red Sun radiation in the comics would. He's powerless under a Red Sun, like
so
a normal Kryptonian.
Help me understand this too. Then, breathing, and I'm not trolling you. I'm actually curious. Breathing in kryptonite has a temporary effect.
Yes. So they've done that. This was actually from the Dark Knight Returns comic. Green Arrow actually shoots a kryptonite arrow that does the same thing. Like he catches it and everything, and it pops.
Okay.
So in this, it's just not as effective. It's really just to weaken him enough. Because also Batman had limited kryptonite, so I'm sure most of it went into the spear. So because that's a surefire way to kill someone, unfortunately. But I think he used whatever he had left.
Create Kryptonian brass knuckles.
In the comics, he did. In the comics, he's had kryptonite brass knuckles. But again, we don't know what this Batman's fight. Like, yeah, he definitely should have just put it in his gloves. But I think he also didn't want to damage it because he did not know what would actually happen with kryptonite. Okay. Like this was Superman's first interaction with it, so he knew that it would damage Superman, but for all he knew it could have just you had to hit him with it or stab him with it, right. And also he knew he would not be able to get close enough to Superman unless he was already weakened.
Okay,
that's why he. And again, this is a smart Batman. The lead smoke grenade, and then that's when he fires off his the gas, because also the gas could have missed and still exploded close enough. Like if a bullet misses, it misses.
Right.
At least with something like this, area of effect. At least that's what I think.
Which leads to my favorite moment.
Which one?
Batman smashing Superman over the head with a sink.
All right, let's talk about the actual Batman.
It is so schlocky, and I love it. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
Just seeing that moment where. You don't expect to see something like that.
Do you want to talk about the title fight?
We have to, right? We're there. I mean, that was a nice little segue. Rob did on purpose, I'm sure.
Sure, let's go with that.
All right, so Batman and Superman's title fight. There is an argument that Superman should have been a little bit more, hey, Lex is trying to get us to... He starts trying to say it, and then Batman's straps start going off, and he's like, cut it out, like, stop.
Yeah.
Should he have...
I've rewatched it. It is... If he had just picked the right words, because he's like, okay,
he did,
Bruce,
Martha.
I'm not here to hurt you. And Batman's like, screw you.
Well, no,
if he had just started with, they are holding my mother captive. Hold on, don't attack. I think Batman would have said, I need more information.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Batman's in his kill zone right now. Like, this is... It's
kill box.
Like he woke total tunnel vision, where he's like, I woke up today to kill Superman.
Apparently, there's a safe word called Martha.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that. Let's talk about the fun parts of the fight first, because the fight visually, it's literally like the Dark Knight Returns coming to life.
Yeah.
The mech suit looks great. It's worn. It's weathered. You know, I love the voice modulator. I'll always defend it for this At I really think
it is good.
It's better than Bale's
with his duck lips. But Superman. He's like, Bruce, wait, you were right. You have to listen to me. Lex wants us to, and then he starts like bombs and
sound effects.
So Superman just tries to disable him, like throws him through a building, and he says, "Stay down. If I wanted it, you'd be dead already."
You'd be dead.
Like he's trying to tell him, dude. This isn't a fight you can win. Like, stop. Just stop for a second. But Batman gets him with the one kryptonite gas grenade, and then Batman pummels him. Like, you say that there's no humor in this movie, but the shot of him punching him in the face and then the kryptonite starting to wear off.
Okay.
Yeah. Still like, and it's the rule of cool, and it's also just funny.
On a side note too, I would argue to. I like this fight a lot, but I just want to draw a comparison because we haven't brought it up yet. That first scene of action where Batman is attempting to get the kryptonite, compare these two scenes, and this is so much better controlled and shot, whereas with that other scene, the one with the Batmobile,
a little bit more chaotic and
It
fast-paced.
is so chaotic and so like. There's a great video online which compares a lot of famous car chases in the films and what they do well and they don't do well, and they show that there needs to, in a sequence like that, be a sense of place. You have to be able to know where you are in relation to everyone else, and there's no sense of place in this whatsoever.
Yeah, I just don't like car scene like chases to begin with.
There's one, I forget Ronin. Have you ever seen Ronin with Robert De Niro? It's a great film where they have a huge car chase through the streets of Nice and you at any given point know exactly where you are, exactly where the other cars are, and how they are moving in relation to one another. And this one just doesn't have that at all, where at least with the fight between Batman and Superman, you know where each of them are at any given point.
Well, because they do a great job with parallels in it. Yeah, like a lot of good parallels. Like, here's Superman, here's Batman. Even like when he spins him around and that's a great shot.
Yeah.
The two of them charging at each other, and then like Batman catching him. But let's talk Martha really quick while we're here.
Who?
Lord.
Why would you say that name?
Safe word.
So I'm gonna defend it and criticize it in the same sentences.
The password is Martha.
But so I understand it. I understand the reasoning behind it. Batman's in his kill zone, and it's definitely weird that Superman would refer to his mother by her first name. Maybe he's delirious from kryptonite, but that's just a weird. I don't know why he was
thinking about. I would never tell someone my mother. When I'm talking about my mother, I would never say
my mother's name.
Marina's the greatest.
Yeah.
Save Marina.
Yeah.
No, it just doesn't work.
So
I wonder if because he knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne,
maybe,
and he knows Martha. I mean, I wonder if there's like maybe he was like,
just stop.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. But I wonder if he's trying to make I know, but I'm trying to explain in there. I'm trying to help the movie out.
So I just think that it's
because that's something that Batman would do to Superman, though.
I think he was just delirious at this point. The kryptonite was literally right there. He was bleeding for the first time. He just got his ass kicked.
A delirious person does not call for their mother with their first name.
No, mommy.
A delirious person. I don't know. Like, in all honesty, like
save mommy.
Yeah,
like, that would have been not worked with the plot.
I mean, because my thing too is all of a sudden Lois appears out of nowhere. Yeah. She appears to explain the Martha thing.
Lois's job in the entire
but my thing is you could have been like, he could have been like, save my mom, and then all of a sudden he's like, what? No, and then all of a sudden Lois is there because she magically appears anyway, and it goes. He's talking about his mom Martha, and then Martha.
That would have made.
In all honesty, the best way to redo that scene. Not that I've ever redone any of this,
is to not do it at all.
No, it would have been great if Superman was like kneeling and Batman like had the literally trying to kill him, and like Superman's like still trying to fight him off. If Lois had arrived then and got in between them, and was like, no, he's gonna kill Martha. Like to Superman, and that's when Batman's like, what?
Or how much better would it have been if that Superman actually had kept one of those photographs, and then Batman, in seeing that photograph, suddenly reminded him of his mother lying dead on the street.
Yeah, you know what? It does add kudos to this concept in that we are still thinking about ways that it could have been just done better, not different, like not take out. We don't need any of that. No, this is what could have made it better, but the concept is strong. It's the execution that was not.
Yeah.
But it is in that moment, because people were confused. It's not that Batman didn't stop because his mom's name was Martha too, that they have the same mom's name. He stopped because he was confused. Like, why is this guy in his dying breath telling me to save someone who has the same... Like, does he know my mom's name is Martha? Is he just trying to trick me?
Yeah.
So, and that's why he asked. He said, "Why did you say that? What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
He even says, he's like, "What does that mean? Why would you say that?" So it's Lois who says that's his mother's name. That suddenly, he's not Superman to him. He's Clark Kent. He couldn't humanize Superman up until this point. And again, he was in his kill rate. He was tunnel vision. He was going to kill Superman. So I will always say that it was not done to the best, and we love making fun of it. We all do. Mm-hmm.
And we will till our dying days.
Oh yes, 100%.
Unfortunately, again, this is an issue with Snyder as a whole. Concept wise, he is fantastic. Visually, he's even better. Mm-hmm. But when it comes time to writing a quality, solid script, he needs somebody to help him. He needs somebody to be like, all right, what's your idea? Well, this is my concept. This is what I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll write it for you.
Yeah.
That's what he needs. And I think that's really enough with the Martha stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it was silly.
Help me with this. What is Superman's motivation?
In what? In this?
Yeah, in general.
To stay alive.
Not even in this movie, it's a level of acceptance. It's the same journey that he's been doing on Man of Steel. He was a child. He was a man that didn't know where his place was. And he thought by the end of Man of Steel that he was going to be a part of this world. And then immediately, Batman vs. Superman starts, and everybody's like, do we really need a Superman?
Yeah, I think it's to get back to that, because he started off as this freak. Now he's
never
like a
belonged.
Savior. You know, in Man of Steel, he grows into kind of like a savior type figure.
Wait,
then
there's Jesus imagery?
No.
I didn't.
Yeah, right.
It's rough.
Oh.
I think it's worse in Man of Steel.
Yes, and now he's
except for when he lands.
Yeah. And now he's back down to being a threat.
He's still
in this
ostracized.
movie. And so his goal is, well, I don't want to be seen as a threat. I want to be seen as, hate to use it again, but as the savior of these people.
But yeah, he's such a reluctant savior.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you be?
Right, but I don't see him wanting to be the savior at all because he doesn't like that.
Well, no, the
the
problem is he wants to help people. He wants to save people. Like, he actively, even especially in this movie, you see him actively Supermaning. Like saving the lady from the fire, but as soon as he
I
hate to say it.
Yeah,
you know, you saving the lady from the fire or saving the people that from the flood.
Astronauts,
you know, the astronauts. Like he's doing all these things, but imagine turning on the news after you literally saved hundreds of people, and they're still arguing about whether or not you should actually even be here.
But like he keeps saving people, and he doesn't seem to be happy to be saving people because he's like, oh, I guess I got to go save. Like,
no. I'll argue that one. When he's in Lex Luthor's party and he sees that fire's happening, he immediately switches a flip and he, without hesitation, without an eye roll, without anything, he smiles.
I'm going to totally use that phrase, switches a flip, every time.
Yeah. Switches a flip. Just let me go with it. I'm going to call you out the next time. But he immediately goes into action, and when he hands her off to the fire department, he smiles, but it's when he turns around and everybody's like, the Jesus imagery, that's when he's like, this isn't what I don't want to be a messiah. I'm just trying to do the right thing. And he says it at the end of Man of Steel. I'm here to help, but I have to do it on my own terms. Unfortunately, the rest of the world is setting his terms for him.
So what is his character arc?
He doesn't have one in this movie.
Yeah. In the extended cut, he has more of,
But see, this is the thing. That's great that it happens in the extended cut.
And that's the issue.
You know, exactly.
Why
that's
not release it to everybody else?
Exactly. Like, this is the problem with them. I haven't seen the extended cut, but from what I've heard from both of you and other people, is that is what we needed in order to understand. Because this movie was a bunch of stories where you never got your climactic point in. You just got the lead up, and then you had the downfall. You never had any sort of turning point, any sort of climax to hit in any of those 17 stories in this movie.
I would wonder how Zack Snyder would do with more chapter or episodic storytelling, like in a week-to-week kind of thing. That
kind of like what we'll see hopefully in Justice League.
Hopefully. I mean, I know
because of 4-part.
They were supposed to do it like 4 episodes.
It's 6 chapters.
Yes.
They said it was 6 chapters, basically, is the structure of the story. But the problem is, and this is going back to the studio wanted Marvel. They wanted that level. So there's...
WB sucks.
Unfortunately, they probably gave Zack Snyder... Like, Man of Steel doesn't feel rushed in any respects. It is an origin story that's nicely paced. Does it have its issues? Absolutely. But at the same time, it is a solid entry into the start of this franchise. The same with Wonder Woman, because both of them did not have any sort of pressure to build the franchise. Batman vs. Superman, I am sure that WB was like, these are the things that we need. Marvel's guilty of it too. A lot of directors won't work with Marvel because they are so amazingly strict about what we want, what you're not allowed to do, and how are we setting up our next movies. So, unfortunately, I think WB jumped in too hard, and they're like, well, we want a story that sets up this, and we want this has to happen, this has to happen, this has to happen. But that's 2 movies. This is 2 movies mixed into one. Yes. And unfortunately, characters like Superman suffer in it because, like I said, in the extended cut, you see he's investigating Batman. He does not believe that Batman is an effective... He thinks that he is just as much a criminal as the rest of the world. And even Batman thinks it. He's like, we're criminals.
Yeah.
So, do you want to talk about something fun to end the episode?
Wonder Woman?
I was going to say the warehouse fight scene, but we can talk about... All right, that is still one of the best.
I love that.
I love that theme.
I kind of like it.
When she drops in to protect Batman after he drops the the bad word we can't say in a family.
Did you might be able to answer this? Did the Ultimate Edition add Wonder Woman scenes?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
not
she
bad.
seemed. I have to say, watching it this time, she seemed a bit more fleshed out to me.
No, I don't think they added. I'd have to double check. I haven't watched the full extended cut in a while.
Yeah, but she is like one of the highlights in this movie.
Oh, she steals it. Yeah. And unfortunately, and that's the problem with Wonder Woman 1984. That Wonder Woman does not become this Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I really wish I was available for that podcast when you guys did it.
Yeah.
Again, we were nice too. We were nice-ish.
Which is why you needed me there.
Well,
no,
we were
still,
nice, but we still
pros
dug
and cons.
it.
Pros and cons. Yeah.
We pointed out like the 3 pros in it, maybe, and then the 38
there are some
cons,
pros.
So we were nice because we pointed out the pros.
Okay.
While you probably would have went straight con.
There, I had a better time. Please don't get me wrong. I would much rather watch Wonder Woman 84 than
Batman v Superman,
Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Yeah.
To all that.
You would watch 84 over Batman vs Superman?
I think so.
I would disagree.
It's so. But Batman v Superman is so nihilistic.
Yeah.
I just want to. Not that I condone this, but I just want to open a vein just to see some color.
I think maybe because again I haven't seen the extended cut of Batman v Superman, but would you take the extended cut Batman v Superman over 84?
Oh man!
Oh god!
It's definitely a superior movie.
Wow.
Because from again what I've heard, I feel like the extended cut would be better than 84. But the theatrical Batman v Superman.
If it was my first time watching BVS Ultimate, yes, but I don't want to have to go through that again.
Okay.
Like now that I've seen the entire story, I'm like, okay, that makes more sense. I don't know if I want to do that again.
Yeah,
but at least
I want to see it in the context with Zack Snyder's Justice League. I really because unfortunately, and that's something different than they did with Marvel. And this isn't a dig against Marvel. No. Marvel was very good at its single movie storylines with slight elements of the overall. But like Iron Man 3 feels totally different than Avengers Age of Ultron. Like you can watch Avengers Age of Ultron without watching Iron Man 3.
It's very much a Shane Black movie.
Yeah. The problem with this series was Zack Snyder had a vision of 5 films, right? Which I don't have a problem with. Eric Kripke had a vision of 5 seasons of Supernatural.
Okay.
And that's why the first 5 seasons feel so much different than the rest of the show. Now, Zack Snyder had a story he wanted to tell about multiple characters over a couple of movies, but he didn't want to do, all right, here's my Batman movie, here's my Superman movie, here's my... He wanted to...
Yeah, Justice League 1 and 2.
He wanted to change up the formula. And I think also...
what was the order?
It was Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman.
Okay. Then Justice League 1.
No. Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad came out, and then Wonder Woman.
Okay.
So it was 3.
But he wasn't directly involved in...
No, but I'm sure he was involved in somewhat of the creative process. And also Ben Affleck's obviously in it as Batman, so I'm sure he had some sort of input. But so he had this story that was supposed to be told over different movies, but we're so used to the Iron Man, Captain America, Thor kind of setup that I think we weren't ready for, or it's just so different from what we enjoy. Because like, don't get me wrong, I love Marvel movies. I will see every Marvel movie. I will be the first one in theaters,
except for Thor: Dark World.
I'll watch Thor: Dark World.
Or Iron Man 2.
I'll watch Iron Man 2. Do I feel like they're the strongest outings? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, I'm just so happy to see these characters on the screen. Like this is awesome. Growing up, we had the Burton Batmans, and I was a little too. I think we were a little young for Christopher Reeve, but I remember seeing it when I was 6, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is awesome!" We're at a great time where it's just fun. Unfortunately, everybody's very critical about these, and if Batman vs Superman came out 10 years prior, it would have like exploded our brains. If it had come out before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or when even before the Raimi Spider-Mans, like the same movie, like our heads would have exploded. It would have been landmark. But and it's not an unfortunate thing, it's just a realistic thing, is that with so much superhero media, it's really hard. We all want it to be very similar. And when it's so different, it doesn't always land. So, I mean, flip the script. If Man of Steel had come out before the MCU had even come out, I guarantee the MCU would have looked different than it currently does.
I prefer to flip the switch.
I know you flipped the switch. Switch the flip.
Switch the flip. Sorry.
Switch the flip.
Yeah, switch the flip. I'm gonna make that my catchphrase.
Switch the flip. Quick, get that domain.
I know, right?
Yeah, right?
Switch the flip.
Switchflip.com.
I'm scared to see what it actually is already. Ugh. But I think that's kind of all my thoughts.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but enough of them.
That's enough of them for the people.
That's enough out of you.
Yeah. Do we want to? I know we gave Star City ratings
originally.
Timmy.
I don't remember.
And
Timmy's corner.
So we'll do our Star City rating.
No, Timmy's corner first.
Will you just let me talk?
I'm sorry, sir.
All right. We're going to do our Star City ratings, but first, let's have Timmy's corner.
That was a very good segue. All right, I asked Timmy on the way out, I said, what do you think of Batman v Superman? And
he probably burped.
He had one word, he said, terrible. I said, okay, why terrible? And he thought about it, and he goes, just because it is.
Just one of Timmy's best corners.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's fair.
Well, let's see. What year did this come out? 2016.
2016. Actually, almost to the day.
5 years ago. So that means he was about 7 or 8 when it came out. And yeah, to a 7 or 8 year old, when you're like, let's go see Superman and Batman, this is not what you expect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a little bit more of a, and that's why the extended cut has an R rating.
Do I think he would change that rating now that he's almost 13?
No.
So
he'll probably be worse.
Very quickly, why does it have an R rating? I didn't see anything. There's one
the
F-bomb.
violence is the real issue.
The violence isn't anything more than what I've seen on a lot of other films and shows.
That's what they gave it for the violence. They cut out a lot of the blood and the gore, and especially in the warehouse fight. But that's literally.
It didn't seem that excessive, though.
The only change. Yep.
Yeah. I know they drop an F-bomb from Wally, Scoot McNairy's character.
Yeah.
And Batman has an S word there, but that's about it.
Apparently that was ad-libbed. It's fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But just violence and language.
So I'll be interested to see why Justice League is R.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be anything gratuitous, and it's going to be. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I felt like that the R rating was more of a, hey, we got some I can't even pronounce the word. We have some, lascivious. I'm an English teacher. Wow.
Yeah, I'm watching this happen. It's
There's a great thing called Google.
I could never pronounce that word.
I don't know if you want to Google what he's trying to say.
We've got some material here that we couldn't show you in the theaters.
And growing up,
yeah, and then
the American Pie movies when they watched the unrated.
Then when I watched it, I'm like,
lascivious.
Is that how you say it? Lascivious? Okay, thank you. Lascivious.
Sure.
Let's go with that.
Quickly Google's L words.
I didn't really think that there was anything in this that was like,
nothing that warranted it.
Yes, that's why it's R. Oh, holy cow! Look at that. So I don't know if they're going to be doing Justice League. I feel like it's more of a ploy than anything.
Also, they can rate it whatever they want. It's on their streaming service.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Netflix doesn't do ratings.
Yeah.
All right, you want to do our Star City ratings?
Sure. You want to go first?
Actually, I was going to have Rob go first.
Ooh, this is a tough one.
Well, we'll build our way up because I'm sure Rob's going to be lower than me, then I'll be lower than you. So we'll go from low to high. Mm-hmm. Right? We always want to end on a high.
All right. If I was doing the theatrical version, I would say out of 5, easily 1.5.
Wow.
Because it is so bad. It is so ununderstandable, so convoluted that I couldn't make sense of it. Having seen the ultimate cut, I am like, okay, this is significantly better, but it's still not good. So I know I'm going to do this again as I did with Man of Steel. I will say that the first third of the movie, I will say 2 stars. The second third of the movie, I'm going to say 2.5 stars. The third part of the movie, I think I even want to go 1.5. They on Facebook, they said, how's it going with Batman v Superman? I think it was Paul that said that. And I said, I turned it off in the middle of the Doomsday fight because it is just so much smashy, 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 punchy, 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 more smashing, more destruction. Hey, there's nobody here. More smashing. And I couldn't take it. It was like, it was sensory overload. And I just was shutting down. And this was before Wonder Woman came in, too. Like the Doomsday Disco machine was just kept going and going, and I couldn't take it. So I think that last third, a star and a half.
All right, so basically I averaged that out, and you gave it a 2.
Which is slightly better than the theatrical version.
So I was correct in saying mine was going to be higher. I have yet to see the extended, so obviously I can only base it off of theatrical. I'm going with a 2.5 for this movie.
A completely average movie.
Completely average. I could maybe go to a 2.
Oh, wow.
You know, but I would say average to around a 2.
Better or worse than Man of Steel?
That's worse than Man of Steel.
This is worse. I think Man of Steel, I think I had like a 2.5 to a 3, I think it was.
Yeah, because I think for this, Man of Steel might be the better movie, but there's some better parts in this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is it my turn?
Well, yeah, usually after Rob goes and then I go, usually you're next.
I wasn't sure if you were done.
No,
I was
I'm
trying
done.
to be polite. I'm going to give this movie a 3.5 out of 5.
Oh, my God.
And I'm sorry, did I say anything
verbally or non-verbally?
Well, you know, I wouldn't want to say that Smashy, a big overload of the century is like, I don't know, the ending of Avengers. Just missing that blue sky being robbed. This guy.
I have admitted that Avengers is
the last. You just described the last part of Avengers. You literally just described it.
But
so a 3.5.
Yes.
Why a 3.5?
I love Henry Cavill and I love.
Sorry to interject. Sorry. I asked you a question, but is this 3.5 off of the extended or off of
extended cut? Extended cut. You know, the regular cut, I'd give it a 3. But I love Ben Affleck as Batman. I really enjoyed the portrayal of Batman. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I really hope to see him again in the role out after Justice League. And also, I like a movie that it made me think. It made me look deeper into it. It made me. In having to defend it, I had to learn more about it, and I like a movie that afterwards we're still talking about, and we're still like, don't get me wrong, I love, like, we still talk about Avengers Endgame, that's fine, but we don't talk about a lot of other Marvel movies. We talk about the ones that we really enjoy, and to have the fact that Rob and I still argue about this movie, and you know, you and I still make jokes about it, and it's still culturally relevant for us.
Yeah, the fact that there's March is one of the major cultural events is Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think says something.
There's something about this franchise, whether it's the fans or the style. It's just something that resonates with me. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm always going to be critical of it, and I point out the flaws in this movie every time. It's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. I don't need a movie to be popular with. We all have our guilty pleasure movies. We all do. Like, everybody has a movie that everybody else hates, but you're like, I love watching this movie. Like, it's just fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy this movie because it presented characters I love in different ways, and it built a world and real life consequences. You know, I think we said it during Man of Steel that Avengers didn't start dealing with the real life consequences until Civil War. You know, that's when suddenly it was like, hey, a lot of people died. Like, they showed the number for the Sokovia deaths. Yeah. A lot of people died in Sokovia during Age of Ultron.
Than Metropolis.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I like enough that it's like alarming. But you know, this movie, while it has a lot of faults, I will always watch the Batman warehouse scene. I love the Wonder Woman entrance when she jumps down, and even their title fight, which again, it lackluster to a point. Really short, especially if they had just called it Dawn of Justice. That's it. But unfortunately, marketing said you got to put Batman and Superman in the title.
Yeah,
we all know.
You just need pictures of them.
Yeah. So this movie, more not so much for the merit of the film, but more for just my level of enjoyment and how involved I got with it. 3.5 out of 5.
Having said that, I will say in watching this for Justice League coming up, it lowered my expectations for Justice League.
That's fine. Yeah.
Which might be a good thing, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It also made me, like, having seen the Ultimate Cut now, it made me worry a little bit about Justice League of like, oh no, what am I going to be watching?
I think it's going to be, and you know what? Rewatching, Ronnie posted our our video of our Justice League review.
Yes.
And the reason we were so nice to Justice League is because we expected a car wreck.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why we were overly because it was better than
it was better than a car wreck.
We were hold on. Here's how we'll shot with. We expected a train wreck, but we only got a mild car wreck.
Yeah.
You know?
We got a fender bender.
A little bit. But I think getting to see this vision, it's like seeing the ultimate cut of Batman vs Superman without having having seen the original cut.
Yeah.
But like this is gonna feel like a totally different movie, and I'm excited.
Well, because it is a totally different movie.
1,000%.
Because the thing with the extended cut of Batman v Superman, it was his creation, so you still saw his creation in both iterations. But with Justice League, it's not his creation that you saw on the screen. What you're gonna see in this, it's his iteration, so it's gonna be completely different.
It's a supposedly fun thing that I'll never do again.
I don't know. I can see. I'm sure there are going to be parts that I'll rewatch.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure I'm going to rewatch the Joker stuff in this, but I'm looking forward to it, and I hope it gives some nice closure.
I will say it did open my mind more as to what this movie Justice League will be.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right, so that pretty much does it for our discussion on Batman v Superman. Stay forward to our later episodes this month. Look forward, whatever, same difference. It's kind of like flipping the switch.
Switch the flip.
I'm going to switch that flip. Chat-chitting.
We're going to do a little WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier review towards the end of this month to finish off
after Justice League.
After Justice League comes out.
Theme.
Exactly. Because, again, we watched all of WandaVision, all of us have, and by the time we record our review on that, we've also would have seen maybe like 1 or 2 episodes of Falcon Winter Soldier, so we'll talk our expectations for that going forward. Other than that pretty much wraps us up. Paul, how can everyone take a listen to us, find out more information about us and everything?
You can ask nicely.
You don't have to say please, though.
Okay. So the easiest way is to find us on Facebook at the Multiverse Fan Cast. There we upload every single one of our episodes. We also have links to some of our other projects. You can also find our website, themisfitfaction.com. Ronnie and I did a ton of work on it this week. Yes. Ronnie did a great job with we have a photo gallery. We have some information about all your hosts and some of the other services that we do. Rob's working on an article section. So if you want to hear more about Rob, well, I mean, you can...
Rob's Rants.
You can also take our podcast on the go with iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. Audible is our newest one, and we're still working on Pandora. They're being very strange, but you can also find us on Podbean. There you can find links to all of our episodes, past, present, and future.
Yes, that wraps us all up. I'm Ronnie.
And I'm Paul.
And I'm Rob.
And we'll be back in a flash.